Peace, family. So I'm back with another one. Today what I wanted to do was I wanted to talk to my chosen ones about how being direct, extremely direct with the opposition side rails them from their agenda. And I wanted to bring this discussion up today because your directness scares the opposition. You know, their whole structure is built around fear. Our whole structure is built around the natural flow of life. You know what I'm saying? So what brought me to this subject today with, just being direct with the opposition in their tracks as it's happening. I kind of took a call recently, and for me, like, I have a tendency of, I don't want to just say me, because there's a lot of humans out here. I'm just a vessel, so let me rephrase that. We have beings in these positions who have to deal with a lot of trolls, or you just naturally, we call trolls the physical word for the opposition in the 3D realm, but really we still deal with that shit in the physical, the 3D realm. So what brought me to the subject today was just having this discussion with somebody, and for some reason people have a tendency, I know the reasons why, but I use the English words because I'm in the Western world, so that's what I know, until I create my own language or the like minds come together and we create something that's a little bit more healthier, struggling with these words the way they are now. Was first I want to say, like, communicating with the opposition, they are always going to try to twist and rearrange everything you're saying. So when I was communicating with this being outwardly, this being was saying that they go around and they help people. They don't do it digitally, which is cool. I know people help people without doing it digitally, but I'm extremely good at reading energy and bullshit. But I was just listening to it. I come across so much bullshit that it's easier to kind of sit around and see a dog shit beside me. You know what I'm saying? I don't need to look at him and pay attention to him. That's how I feel with dealing all this other shit out here. But they have a hard time listening and using the words that you choose to use to give to them to process those words and to respond accordingly. And I kept thinking to myself, okay, if this being is out here helping people, why do they keep cutting me off when they're talking to make non-valid points? It's a difference between cutting somebody off to state a fact or to drop something, prevalent or relevant to the subject at hand. But when you got people cutting you off just to say that the grass is green, like, bitch, shut the fuck up. Like, I already understand that shit is a tactic being used right now. How could you say you out helping people, but your communication is extremely shitty? And when they started doing this shit, I called it out and I pointed it out right away because I already knew what time it was. When you in this space for a while, you don't just let that shit just float and fly around. I know some people say, oh, just let it go. But to me, I'm a spiritual being having a human experience. So everything it's not just a let goable, especially if I'm like in the process of engaging. Now, it was some things in the process of engaging that I was like, oh, okay. As I seen the person had really shitty communication, I realized, like, okay, this must be, a troll or an agent of some sort, because there's no way that you communicate or reach out to somebody and have a communication with somebody who you clearly know has knowledge and clearly is operating on a different frequency, but you feel the need to change their words and flip them how you want to flip them. It was like a weird question asked about think they was talking about like trying to see if I believed in fairies or some shit like that. Whether I believe in fairies or not really doesn't even fucking matter, because that's not beneficial to the war at hand. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying like, oh, that's wrong and oh, we shouldn't. I'm trying to fix that shit was crooked. And I'm not saying like, oh no, that's wrong or you're lying, like that's not real and all this other shit. Like, everybody doesn't have the same vision in the spiritual world. I understand that. But someone trying to make me believe that they're fairies and telling me that, oh, all the kids see them and all this shit, they got shut the fuck up with that dumbass shit. That dumbass shit, you don't know what my child sees. Just because people understand that kids are spiritual connected and you're a dumbass don't mean that kids see all this shit that we don't see. That's only for the stupid motherfuckers that's not connected. It's not that far off or that different. But what happens is the day and age we're in is so witchy that people can just say witchy shit and try to force that shit on people as if it's real or organic. And my thing with that being was, when I was discussing with them, when I had addressed it and was telling them, I was basically saying, like, I asked them a question like something about the fairies being a part of their belief system, and they decided not to answer the question, to break down their definition of belief and all these other things they start going into, when I was just asking them if the fairies was part of their belief system. Correct? Which is correct. You believe in them, you feel you can see them, so that means that's a part of your belief system. But these witches out here is so fucking disgusting and think they so slick with they shit that everybody's just gonna allow them to skate past and keep doing what they doing. When they start doing that shit, I called them out on it. I said, there's no way that you out here helping people the way you say you helping people when you have extremely poor communication. Like, you're having a hard time, for one, explaining your point of view and trying to get it across, you know? And then for two, you're having a really hard time listening to the words that I'm using. Three, you're having a really hard time comprehending the words that I'm using. And four, you're just unresponsive to whatever statement I just fucking made. When you in this space, you have to figure out who's on what team. It's the same thing I always say all the time. You gotta figure out who's on what team. Where's your belief system coming from? Don't come talking to me about fairies and saying that, oh, you believe in them. That's okay if you do, but you don't force it on me. And I know if I pulled 10 human beings right here from all over the world, sat them right here in front of me and asked, how many of you guys see fairies? All of them, majority of them are not going to say they saw them. So, and it's not saying that you're wrong. It's just saying that I was saying that fairies are a part of your belief system, and you want to change the word belief. When you communicate out with people, it's certain words that if you're going to change them, you have to address it in the minute, in the like the beginning of the conversation or as the conversation progresses. But for me, when I communicate outwardly, if somebody said chicken shit and I got a different meaning for chicken shit, I'ma listen. I know that my meaning from chicken shit is different than how they're using it, but I know the actual meaning of chicken shit means this. It doesn't mean my meaning. So when they're communicating outward to me, I'm gonna take chicken shit as the dictionary meaning, because this person isn't communicating as if they're speaking the same language as me, even though they're using English. You see what I'm saying? So you can change the meaning of words. I do it all the time, but it's how you formulate it, you know? So that also came down to, you know, just addressing shit and pointing shit the fuck out. You know, it's the faster you do it in the middle of conversation or engaging, the easier it's gonna make things down the line for you. And for me and for us, I already know we already do things on the hardest level already. We already got shit on the hardest level already. So if it's a couple of things that we can make a little easier, smoother, soother for us, I don't see why we wouldn't do that, you know? And then some people say, oh, well, maybe we should like not talk about it. But my thing is like, I don't spend all day discussing the enemy. No, But it's a lot of people out here that don't understand the spiritual war. They don't understand the tactics that's being used, even though they've been experiencing these tactics for years. You know, so for me, it's always been more so of, let's address it and let's come up with a solution as soon as possible. Why let it sit and linger when you can come up with a solution right away? You know, I should have been had that law already anyways. That's my fault. But I do it that way when you can come up with a solution, you know? And solutions keep you from pondering on certain things. So if you're addressing something, you having one of those conversations where somebody's trying to misconstrue your words or twist them however the fuck they want to. I hate saying misconstrue because they do it intentionally. You know, if somebody doesn't understand something, they usually say, hey, what did you mean by that? You know, but their thing is they don't ask you that. You be talking about the leaves and they say, yeah, but fuck the leaves, yeah, but the grass is. And it's like, that don't have nothing to do with what I'm saying. You're intentionally missing the point, intentionally trying not to have a healthy communicative conversation. You know, so a lot of people out here that's in this warring space, you know, that's on the front line, you have to understand that they have to know how to communicate. They have to know how to communicate, even if you don't like it. It's like if somebody is really good and they beat me in basketball all the time. I don't have to fucking like him, but he's really good. He knows the rules, he got the techniques down, he got skills down, he got all these things down. I don't have to fucking like him, but I gotta respect his game. Even though I don't like him, the motherfucker know how to play, and he beat me every time I come out here and try to play him and guard him. You know what I'm saying? It's no different than out here, you know? You are, like, the thing is like, people say, and I know you are what you put your energy into, right? You get, it's a reciprocation. The energy is cycling itself out here. So we already know whatever you pouring the most energy into, usually it's gonna cycle back around to you. Teaching lessons for spiritual beings who are way far beyond the other beings doesn't put them in that same space as far as spending an hour or 2 or 3 or 4, however long that teacher spends discussing the warring tactics, because they don't have the same intentions while discussing it. They're not talking it in a circle just to not get nothing from it. This is being discussed because people are getting something from it. This is being discussed because it's also helping within, you know? So a lot of people want to avoid all of this shit and just go to, like, somebody told me that I should start talking about meditation and shit. I do all of that stuff on there. You know, I talk about everything in that department here. But the thing is with that, you're not going to shut me up about this spiritual war that's going on. Every day that I get up and I look up in the sky and I see chemtrails, I'm reminded, you know what I'm saying? Every day I wake up and I want to fucking say I want to fucking ride across the country. The system is reminding me all the things that I have to have in place in order to do certain things. Every day I get in the car, you know, it's constant reminders that we had a spiritual war. So it's not that it's not that we focus our energy on it. It's just that that's the energy that's out here, and there's no other way to wiggle around it without people standing in the forefront, you know? And that's why I feel like it's important to address all the witchy motherfuckers up front when they having this shit going on, they having these discussions and conversations, because it halts them. This being didn't even know what to say, you know, when all of that shit was said and done. Because as it was happening, as they was doing shitty communication and all these other things that just wasn't making sense, I'm just addressing it, you know, as clearly as I possibly can. And what really made me understand that it was a witchy motherfucker on the line was that, for one, their belief system doesn't have anything to do with the natural flow of life. You know, because with the natural flow of life, you have to start with us as well too. We have to have our roles. Male have to have a role, women has to have a role. But for this motherfucker, they had the same westernized mindset. I had made a statement about, if it wasn't for this false sense of security, women would not be in control the way they are if it was no policing out here. It was just natural law. You had to trust the males who were honest around you. You had to know which ones was disgusting and witchy. Women wouldn't run the world. The bitch laughed and said women run the world. And I knew that was a full-on witch. You know, there's no way that you could agree with women run the world without being a full-out disgusting witch. You know, it's not possible. I would never say women run the world, even the Western world. Clearly, men are in higher power and they are allowing women to run around as if they have some kind of physical control or like some kind of spiritual overpull over the natural flow of life. That's why this side of the world is so crazy, because we do not follow the natural law and structure. So anybody that lives by that mind concept, women run the world and all this other weird shit, them are full out witches, and there is no hope for them. There is no hope for them. Because what happens is they so power and disgusting and so witchy, strung out on thinking they have power in a certain manner where they don't. We all have power. Women have their power, but it's not where the witchy motherfuckers placed it at. It's almost like women power is right up here. You know what I'm saying? And then while they were asleep, somebody came in and said, hey, grab that bag, move it over here. And then the women woke up and it was like their power was over here. So now the system is making them think like, oh yeah, your power's over here. And then when they try to think outside of it, it's like, well, I don't know where else I'm supposed to get power from. You know, it's like the things that they're saying is powerful for women, I don't think is powerful for women, but the structure set this base right here, which is power, which seems like it's powerful. You know, I can live by myself, I can do these things by myself, I can take care of this, I can take care of that. Yes, you can right now in this systematic structure. You can in this systematic structure. But that hasn't always been the case, and you have to understand, for this thing to switch, this place will be fucking chaotic before it gets better. So that means that when this shit crashes, it's still a lot of demons and witchy motherfuckers out here. So, no system in place, they have free reign to do whatever the fuck they want until we clear this shit out. And it's the same with us. We have free reign to provide protection for the universe that's out here and in our spaces that we're in. You know? So, always address the witchy shit up front. Weird communication, somebody trying to misconstrue your shit, somebody trying to mislead you, any of those things, you know what I'm saying? Because it's all a tactic of the opposition. You have to know where somebody's belief system lies, you know what I'm saying? You're not gonna bake a cake without that flour. You can try to, and there's other tactics you can do, but it's a lot harder and it's a lot more difficult. And most of us out here is trying to take the easy route. Most people don't even know how to get up and turn their TV off. Most people don't even know where the power button is at on the TV. Matter of fact, the damn system's so witchy, most of the TVs are being built without fucking buttons even on them. You have to use a goddamn remote. You know what I'm saying? These are just all subtle signs and shit, you know what I'm saying, of everything that we have going on. 3D due to the spiritual aspect of what's actually going on. You know what I'm saying? Tapping everything down below. Peace and love to the kings and queens.